All right, so number 9, are the given lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? So what we need to remember here is parallel lines are lines that have the same slope. Perpendicular lines are lines that have opposite reciprocal slopes. And if two lines have slopes that do not have either of those relationships, then we would say that they're not parallel and they're not perpendicular, so that would be neither. So what we need to do is identify the slope of both lines. So this first one, well, that's pretty exciting. This is in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So m, our slope, is this 3. All right, so we want to see what is the slope over here. If it's a 3, then we have parallel lines. If it's an opposite reciprocal of 3, which would be negative 1/3, then we have perpendicular lines. If it's neither of those, then these two lines are not parallel or perpendicular. So when we go over here, I would say it's really easy to look at this and say, oh, the slope is 2 because 2 is with the x. But we can only say that the slope is the number with the x when you're solved for y. So why don't we do that work? We can solve this for y. We can do it in 2 steps. Our first step will be to get the x term to the other side of your equation. So in this case, we will subtract 2x. So we have 6y equals, let's write that negative 2x right after the equal sign, plus 4 will go after. And then we're going to divide everything by 6. So we have y equals, now negative 2 over 6, we do want to reduce that. Negative 2 over 6 reduces to a negative 1 over 3, x, and then plus 4 over 6 reduces to 2 over 3. Okay, so the reason we did all that work was so that we could identify the slope. The slope of this line is, now that we have it in slope-intercept form, it's the number with the x, so y equals, or m equals, negative 1/3. Okay, so first, are these two the same slope? 3, negative 1/3. They are not the same slope, so that means the lines are not parallel. If those were the same number, we would have parallel lines. So the next thing is, are they perpendicular? What perpendicular is that's an opposite reciprocal. I'm going to go ahead and make this first slope a fraction by putting it over 1. Now an opposite reciprocal, opposite means opposite signs. This slope is positive, this slope is negative. Great, they are opposite. Are they also reciprocals? A reciprocal is when you take a fraction and you flip it. So 3 over 1 would be 1 over 3. Oh, this is 1 over 3. Look at that. So this slope is 3 over 1. This slope is a negative 1 over 3. Those are opposite reciprocals. So that means that these two lines are perpendicular. All right, number 10, write the equation of the line that's parallel. Write the equation of the parallel line in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That goes through the given point. Okay, so you guys see the word parallel. I want you to circle it and write same slope. So the reason why we write that is we look at this equation we were given. If we want to be parallel to this line, we want to use the same slope of this line. So this slope is this 3 right there. That's the slope of that line. So in order to be parallel to that, we want to use a slope of 3. But we want to go through the 0.32. So this is the information we'll use to write a line. We don't need anything else from that line after we've gotten the slope from it. Okay, so y equals mx plus b. Y equals m, our slope is 3x, plus, do we know our y-intercept? So is this ordered pair the y-intercept? Is the 2 the y-intercept? Well, if you think about where this ordered pair is, 3, 2, you'd go to the right 3, up 2. You're in the first quadrant. You are not on the y-axis. So this is not the y-intercept, which just means that we don't know it. So let's put a b there. Again, I capitalize my B so I don't get confused and think it's a 6. So what do we do from here? How do we figure out our y-intercept? Well, we've got this helper point that has an x and a y coordinate we can plug into our line to solve for b. So this y equals, we're going to replace the y with a 2. So 2 equals 3 times our x coordinate is 3 from the ordered pair plus b. And then we're just going to multiply. We have 2 equals 9 plus b. Subtract 9, and we have negative 7 is equal to b. So our y-intercept is a negative 7. We're crossing the y-axis at negative 7. So y equals, here's our equation again. All we needed was the b value, so 3x and then minus 7. Those two lines are parallel because they have the same slope. All right, number 11, write an equation of the perpendicular, so that's important, line in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. It's always good to pay attention to what form of a line that you want, because if they said point slope or slope intercept or standard, like we know 3 different ways to write an equation of a line. So we just need to make sure we know what form they want for our answer. All right, so let's see. We want to be perpendicular to this line. So what do we need to know about this line? We need to know the slope. This slope is 3. So what is perpendicular to 3? Perpendicular symbol is an upside down T. M is slope, so the perpendicular slope is an opposite reciprocal. So this is a 3, opposite would be negative, and a reciprocal of 3 is 1 over 3. I feel like we just had that slope up above, but that's okay. So we're going to write an equation line with this point 3, 2, and this perpendicular slope, negative 1, 3. We don't need this line for anything else. All right, so let's go ahead and write slope-intercept form. Y equals, we know our perpendicular slope is negative 1/3. Here's our x, and then plus, is this the y-intercept? All right, so we would go to the right 3 up 2. That puts us into the first quadrant. That is not on the y-axis, so we don't know our y-intercept. We can, however, use this ordered pair to help us find it. This is a helper point. It's an x and a y. Any point on the line you can use in the line. So this y equals, let's replace the y with the 2 from the ordered pair, equals negative 1/3 times the x from that ordered pair is 3 plus b. All right, so 2 equals negative 1/3 times 3 is a negative 1 plus b, and then our last step is we're going to add 1. So we know that our y-intercept is 3. So we can go to write our equation right here. Now we know the rest of it. Y equals that negative 1/3 x. And then our b was a positive 3, which is where we're crossing the y-axis. Negative 1/3 x plus 3. All right, number 12. Jordan will hike the trail shown at a rate of 4 miles per hour. Write a linear equation to represent the distance Jordan still has to walk after X hours. What does the y-intercept of the equation represent? So I'm going to think about, well, I guess let's think about X is equal to our number of hours. They told us that in the problem. And then we're writing an equation to represent the distance Jordan still has to walk. So y equals, why don't we say distance remaining? So if we think about our distance remaining, so y equals, at the start right here, she has 25 miles. Oh, this is a long trail. So she has 25 miles to walk, and that 25 miles is going to go down at this rate of 4 miles per hour. So it's going to go down at 4 miles times x every hour that she hikes. So y equals 25 is the total that she has to hike, and that is going to decrease by 4 miles for every hour. I am going to rewrite this into slope-intercept form, negative 4x plus 25. So we wrote a linear equation. There it is. What does the y-intercept of the equation represent? So what does that y-intercept of 25 represent? Well, we kind of talked about what that 25 was when we were writing this. When your x is 0, so when you have 0 minutes, negative 4 times 0 is 0, the distance remaining y is equal to 25, because if no time has passed, she hasn't done any walking yet or hiking. So she still have 25 miles left to go. So the y-intercept represents, let's bring in at 0 minutes, the y-intercept is 25, which is the total miles she has to hike. So basically, she's at the start of the trail. She's got 25 miles ahead of her. Okay. Oh, we made it to the last question. Number 13, a high school football team scores a total of 63 points by scoring touchdowns and field goals. Suppose each field goal is worth 3 points and each touchdown is worth 7 points. Let x represent the number of field goals and y represent the number of touchdowns. Write an equation that models the total points scored in the game. So we can see up here that the total points, 63 points. So how are we getting these points? Well, we are kicking some field goals. So how many points do we get for every field goal? Each field goal is worth 3 points. So 3 points times, they said x is our number of field goals. In addition to that, we're getting some points for touchdowns. Touchdown is worth 7 points, so we're getting 7 points times every touchdown, which they told us was y. Y represents the number of touchdowns. And then this is an equation for total points, and so this will add up to equal our total points of 63. All right, identify and interpret the x and y intercepts. So let's talk about an x-intercept first. X-intercept is found by plugging in a 0 for the y. So 3x equals 63. Divide both sides by 3 and x equals 21. So the x-intercept is 21. Interpret that. Well, that means that the team they kicked 21 field goals and scored 0 touchdowns. All right, how about a y-intercept? So we are going to plug in a 0 for the x, so 3 times 0 plus 7y equals 63. 3 times 0 is 0, leaving you with 7y equals 63. Divide both sides by 7, and you get y equals 9. So what does that mean? That means that the team scored 9 touchdowns and 0 field goals.